thought Ettinger should go into handbags because, you know, I looked at all the big brands and we worked on it for a year and a half, and we were in the showroom and I thought we'd got there, and about 8 of us around the table. Here we are, has anybody got any comments? And one person said, actually, I think that pocket should be a bit bigger, and I think the strap should be blue and not green, having worked in it for a year. So I took the handbag, and this is true, I opened that window.
Threw it out.
I threw it out, and I said, that's the end of Ettinger handbags.
Oh, that's a good question. I wrote them.
That's
a good question.
I'm very relaxed.
Are you?
We know each other, we've met, we've had good chats, it's easy.
Last time I visited Ettinger, you told us so many stories that were so brilliant, and it really opened up the brand to me in a whole new way. And I just thought it would be such a waste to not show people one, your character, and two, the character of Ettinger.
And of course my father and grandfather were a great character because, I mean, they came from a background of tailoring. The family business was in Prussia, it's now Poland, and their business there they were military tailors, so they were making military uniforms and suits.
But they were really stylish as well, because military uniforms are pretty stylish.
They were very, very stylish. I mean, but at the end of the First World War, they were told, because it came Poland again, that they had to become Polish and only speak Polish rather than be Germans and speak German. And there were lots of German people living there. And then they decided to go to Berlin, where they opened another business. And then in 1934, there was some political trouble. Again, they had to just stump the business, and they came to London. And that's when they started Ettinger in 1934. And originally, my father, he knew a German leather goods company from Pforzheim called Herrian Leather Goods. And he represented that company in England to start with before starting his own factory. And I still have kept in touch with the Herrian family and send them all our catalogues, and the daughter of Mr. Herrian, who knew my father, she's now in her 90s, she was so chuffed to see the things are carrying on. It was really nice.
Because a lot of brands are not family brands, and so how do you feel having that family background? How do you think it's impacted how you...
I mean, my father always wanted me to go into the business, but he didn't push me. He sent me first. Well, he sent me to school first in Austria, because my mother was Austrian, and then to school in France. And then I lived in Germany for a year and a half, and I was an apprentice in a business that he was buying from. He was buying for Mappins of Canada, jewellers, and he represented the European buying. It was a proper apprenticeship where you went into a factory for 6 weeks, and you had to work on the machines, making things, and then in the packing department, and then you went to sales in Germany, export sales, bookkeeping. Finally, for the last 2 months, I sat with the boss to learn about how one manages a business. It was about the same size as ours, and I had a ball as well. It was great.
Don't you think that it's such a shame that we have less apprenticeships nowadays?
The continental apprenticeships are completely different than the British apprenticeships.
Better?
They're much better. You learn everything about a business. And in Germany, they still got apprenticeship. You've done your apprenticeship and you get a job, then there are various tiers. And in the end, in Germany, you become a master or Meister. And that's the top tier. And that's when you're a Meister, you can start training the new apprentices.
You might know what I'm going to bring up next, speaking about master craftsmen. We had a chat last time about Japan because we're both avid fans. Yeah. Ettinger's really popular in Japan. Why do you think the Japanese market in particular really appreciate Ettinger?
It's attention to detail. I always remember when we had our new partners out there 25 years ago, and they placed a very big order, and we sent it out. 2 weeks later, they said, there's a big problem, 30% of the order is unacceptable. I thought, oh gosh, and then it was a lot of money, biggest order I'd ever got. And so I flew over, because it had to be sorted. They took me down in the basement of their warehouse, and they had people with big magnifiers checking every item. And so they said, well, this one's good and this one's not good enough. And I looked at them, I said, well, they're the same. He said, but look under the magnifier. They took a wallet, and they took a good one, and it had 9 stitches per inch. And they took a bad one and it had 8.5 stitches per inch. All it meant was going back to the factory and adjusting the sewing machine. But it was imperceptible, and that mattered, and that's Japan.
Did you take the wallets that they claim to be imperfect and sell them in the British market?
We did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of
Why
course,
not?
no one could
Nobody
see.
noticed.
I mean, I couldn't see. These magnifiers, and we've got one in our factory, you know, it multiplies 10 times. So quite a lot of companies going into Japan give up after a while. It's a, sort of making a point as well that they are sort of keeping an eye on every detail.
Do you think that because your factory is in Walsall and in the UK, do you feel a sense of pride that you're contributing to British craft or preserving a tradition?
Well, I think we are one of the last factories, and we are preserving the British tradition of manufacturing our products. I think it's difficult here. Younger people are not taught or educated about going into the skilled crafts. I work with Walpole and the Prince's Trust, mentoring young people who do have skills. Leather goods makers. I mean, my watch strap was made by one of my mentees who just made watch straps, but she was very gifted.
It's definitely much needed, because if I think about all the craftspeople I know, all of them started by themselves with no mentor, through a trial and error online or like through YouTube. And it is a sad state of affairs to say we have more access to YouTube training than we do to apprenticeships. Your watch, actually, just off topic, but your watch looks like, you know how people say that watches evolved from pocket watches that had lugs put on?
It was my great-grandfather's. It's an Eterna from 1915.
So it's the perfect time, because they say watches came out of the wars.
Yeah, and he had a pocket watch on a chain, and then they went out of fashion, and watches with straps came in, so the lugs on the end were put on, hence the sort of quite small lugs. So that's why I had this design, but it's a beautiful watch.
So talking of British craft, I think that craftsmanship and sustainability often do go hand in hand, particularly when you have a British-owned factory in the UK. How does Ettinger balance traditional manufacturing methods with modern sustainable practices, or is this something that you think about when you're creating your pieces?
Having a warrant from, it was the Prince of Wales, it's now the King. Every 5 years you have to fill in a sustainability document. And this document it's huge, it's onerous. By doing it, and it's a great thing, it made us, when we first got our warrant in 1996, really think about our company's sustainability. Leather is a byproduct.
Yeah.
And until the whole world goes vegetarian, it would be a terrible waste not to use the leather. Tanning processes have improved enormously, and we only buy in Europe, where it's quite strictly controlled, the chemicals. And then 85% of the manufacturing in our factory is done by hand. We only use electricity and machines to cut out the pieces, to split it down, it's called skiving, to make it thinner, and to do the stitching. Everything else in between is done by hand and can only be done by hand. It is a sustainable thing. The products last a long time. We have a repair service. I mean, I had my wallet for 17 years, and the only place it was going was where you bend it, because it opens and closes every day.
What a claim.
So what we do, we take the back of the wallet off, unstitch it, put a new back on. It'll last another 17 years. Well, surely that is sustainable. We've made our factory more efficient by double glazing, put better roofs on and all of that, and more efficient heating. So I think we're probably one of the more sustainable, efficient businesses around.
I see sustainability in two levels. I see it in the way that something's produced and the things it's made of. But then I also see sustainability in good design and quality. Like you mentioned, if something's good quality, you're going to keep it for a long time. If something's a good design, you're going to use it for a long time. And so those two factors, people often think of them as two separate things, but I think that they're one and the same.
And our products are more timeless. We're not high fashion.
Trend-driven.
We thought about going into handbags, and in fact, there is a story to this.
Go on, we're ready for it.
I thought Ettinger should go into handbags because, you know, I looked at all the big brands, and every 6 months they bring out a new collection, and people have to have the latest handbag. And we worked on it for 1.5 years, and we were in the showroom, and I thought we'd got there, and about 8 of us around the table. We still do that on new products. Here we are. Has anybody got any comments? And one person said, actually, I think that pocket should be a bit bigger, and I think the strap should be blue and not green, having worked in it for 1 year. So I took the handbag, and this is true, I opened that window.
Threw it out.
I threw it out, and I said, that's the end of Ettinger handbags. If we go into high fashion, We'll be throwing stuff away, which a lot of the brands, they might have stopped a bit now, but they do throw a lot away. They burn it, so it doesn't go on the black market. None of our things are like that. I mean, our bridal leather, the story of this is that the factory, when it first started, was making saddles. And then in the early 1900s, when the motor car came in, didn't need as many saddles. So the factory had the bridal leather, this is saddle leather, and the panel hide is a vegetable tan with no chemicals. So when the saddle sat on the horse's back and the horse got hot from running, there were no chemicals eking out into the horse. So we had that leather, and we thought, what are we going to do? Our orders are going down. So we started making wallets. And we're still using the bridal leather and the panel hide. It's still probably one of our biggest sellers, this collection in bridal leather around the world.
God, that's amazing.
That's 80, 90 years later.
A decision made 100 years ago is still having a positive impact on the business.
Yeah, it is. A lot of our customers are much younger than we thought. It's sort of middle, late 20s to about 50s.
I see it as also having an interest in a story, because if I'm investing in something and I'm investing in a piece that I know I'm going to use for the next, or pass down, I want there to be a story behind it. I want to feel connected. But I mean, I guess also I used to be an archaeologist, so I have like an even bigger investment in stories and history and people. Yes. But I do think that is still the case with the younger generations. They really are starting to care about stories.
More people than ever are thinking that actually I'm not going to just buy that item which in 6 months' time will be out of fashion.
Yeah.
Let's buy something that will last longer. It doesn't cost any more. In fact, it might cost less. I mean,
price per wear, girl math.
Yeah, exactly.
As we call it now.
Yeah.
Do you know about girl math?
No.
I see something, I go, gosh, you know what, that's a bit out of my price range. But then I can sell it to myself because I go, well, I could wear it for this event, this event, this event, this event. It's actually cheaper than that £50 thing that I saw down the road. Like, price per wear is cheaper, and that's girl math.
Price per wear, that's interesting.
We can sell ourselves into anything. I'm going to hashtag girl math this video. We've talked a lot about the past, but I do want to touch upon your future. I think things are changing very quickly these days, but maybe that's how everybody felt even 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you think?
And in 100 years' time, we'll think things are changing quickly. They change all the time.
All the time.
We're being told now the world is becoming a cashless society, but we still sell more purses and wallets than almost any other item. But what we have started doing is designing and making more gifty items. I mean, things like our pill cases, and we've just introduced some travel pill cases that are a bit smaller, are selling really well. And it's not just the people who are older and need to take medicines. Young people take supplements. We had an idea a few months ago, because I had a very old dog and it was on so many pills. And I was thinking now, and I thought, well, why don't we do our pill cases, the same ones for dogs? And it's being launched in a few weeks.
I'm obsessed
the same
already.
Pill cases, we emboss a paw on the top, and we can put the animal's name, the dog's name on it. You've got to think out of the box.
Yeah.
It's still leather. We can still make it in the factory, but it's a new audience.
God, that's clever. I'm already upset. I don't even have a dog and I want one.
A lot of work.
No, I mean your dog pill box, but also a dog.
Oh, a dog.
Also,
Well, we'll get you a dog and a dog pill box, but hopefully the dog won't need the pills.
Yeah, it'll be a new doggy.
Vets are very expensive.
Yeah.
It lived to be 99 years old, my dog, but the last few months I needed a mortgage to pay for its medicine.
I know, that's what people keep saying
to me.
But
we look after our animals in England.
We
as
do,
well
don't
as,
we?
Well, probably better than our children.
They deserve it.
They deserve it.
They deserve it. They're actually way more appreciative than children.
It never answered me back.
Absolutely.
Every day when I walked in, it wagged its tail.
Unwavering loyalty.
I mean, wow.
Your kids don't do that.
No, they don't.
Absolutely not.
No.
Take.
Exactly.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
But actually, my question might have been, maybe this is the answer. What is the most unusual thing that you've produced? And then also the thing you've produced, the item you've produced that you're most proud of?
I think, actually, the pill cases are the most unusual thing we've done, because, I mean, it came about, actually, I was having breakfast with a great friend of mine, and he took out his pill case that he bought in Boots in a horrible plastic case.
Horrendous.
And I said, okay, you've got to take the pills, but that case, and he was well-to-do man, beautifully dressed in handmade suits, and he brought out this plastic, and I said, I'll make a leather one for you, and just a one-off as a friend. And we made it, and then he said, you know, this is fantastic, you should make these. The rest is history.
You've revolutionised pill taking.
Revolutionised pill taking.
I really want to know the item that you have either the most emotional connection to, or the thing that you're most proud of.
I use a lot. It would be this one.
Oh, it's the folio with the pull-out handle.
Folio.
Because I'm obsessed.
The story of this is that we had an antique, which was basically similar, but it was very, very slim, couldn't hold that much. So we went about designing this one, and we put in quite a big gusset, so that the one I use, and I've used it for many years, you can even get an umbrella in the bottom.
Oh, perfect.
Your papers, your passport, whatever. But I spent 2 years traveling with the prototype, just seeing if it worked. And then we changed things. You know, we found that the handles needed to be a little bit longer, and the pockets inside, we needed some more pockets, and we put an address thing in here. I use it all the time. Funnily enough, when you walk into a meeting with this, people do look at it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just what you're wearing, it's your accessories.
It's divine,
As you
actually.
said,
It's
your watch.
elevated.
You know, and for men, you know, we do tend to have to wear suits. But these sort of things people look at, and it's like, you know, your jewellery.
Or your bespoke suit. And when you walk into a room of people wearing bespoke pieces, they have an eye for detail. Like you can walk into a room and tell if somebody's wearing bespoke or not, in the same way that you can walk into a room and see if something's high quality and elevated or not.
Exactly.
It's been so wonderful, honestly, to explore Ettinger. It will also be extended by the factory visit, so I'm really excited to meet the people in your factory, see the new double glazed windows that you've
It's our claim to fame. We've got double glazed windows. Well, it's better than single glazing. It keeps the heat in and the cold out.
It's just truly sustainable. So yeah, really looking forward to it. So thank you so much for giving us an insight into Ettinger and your family.
Thank you.